So just settle, connect with yourself. Both feet flat on the floor. If you're not already sitting in a cross-legged position, and align your shoulders with your hips and your ears with your shoulders, and imagine that spine is a beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. Imagine you're lengthening your spine. And bring your attention to the crown of the head, relaxing your scalp and forehead and eyes and nose and cheeks and mouth, the jaw, the back of the scalp, the base of the skull, the neck. Lengthen your neck. Relax the shoulders and the shoulder blades and the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs, your fingers and your toes. And notice the sensation of the breath. A little bit cooler as you inhale, slightly warmer as you exhale. And then just having some awareness of any sounds or sensory information in your environment. Just allowing all of it to be there. And then check in with yourself, check in with your own mind. Trying to put some space in between the thoughts. And try not to criticize what you're seeing. Just allowing the thoughts to arise and abide. And just, be curious about what's in your mind. Have a level of curiosity. And importantly, objectivity. So trying not to get caught up with, I know easier said than done. And perhaps if you can catch it before it develops into a full-blown story and then sort of sensory information coming in as well, then may not get that far. But as I said, it takes a bit of focus and awareness and practice. So anyway, then bring to mind all the people of your life, your loved ones, your strangers, the ones you don't like, remembering they're all equal. They want to be happy, they don't want to suffer, and they all have an extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. And these relationships in your life can change. So we'll do this Vajrasattva meditation this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all the sentient beings. So we start by thinking there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with the power of regret. So, Rinpoche used to say regret goes a long way to help us to purify. It does a lot towards purification. So it's good to start there. So it's not guilt. It's just a sense of taking responsibility. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so, having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I am sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you sort of see him as a doctor. See this whole meditation as a healing, like we're healing ourselves. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head, and you can also imagine that this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face, and his eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell, and this represents wisdom. And the right is holding a vajra, a dorje, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So compassion you think of as a wish to be free from suffering. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently, and then in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then thinking about those who have harmed you, have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And so then we come to the power of remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And imagine Vajrasattva sends radiant, blissful, powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hom pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita. Drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa zidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita. Drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita. Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, vajrasattva dina patita, jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita. Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there is no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And next is our speech, purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful, blissful white nectar again from his heart chakra. And this kind of arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body. And this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe, vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, vajrasattva dina patita, drita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Trita Mebawa Situkaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Trita Mebawa Situkaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Trita Mebawa Situkaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others with your speech, including yourself. And next is the purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So, Lama Yeshe used to say, and I think it's as a common analogy, you would think about walking into a room and you flick on the switch, and the light that comes instantly dispels the darkness. Of course, if the room was dark before you went in. So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachments and neediness and anger and depression and resentment and jealousy and bitterness, all of this is instantly dispelled, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan, Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe, Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Trida Meboa, Situkaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. So we're going to be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think now that there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and compassion and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar. It fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. So imagine the nectar flows down, pushing out all the negativity of the body, and then it flows up, pushing out all the negativity of speech. And then the light comes and blasts all of those delusions. So this is happening all simultaneously. And it eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anurakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe, vajrasattva samayam manupalaya, vajrasattva dina patita, Drita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anurakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And next is the power of resolve. So the fourth and final step in the purification process, and it's a really crucial one. And this is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And sort of without making a decision, we're just going to keep doing the same old stuff. So just decide. So kind of in a way, it's just quite simple once you turn your mind that way. And this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming becomes like a beacon that guides your body and your speech and your mind in new directions. So rejoice in your efforts for coming along this morning, this afternoon, this evening. And then think of something maybe you'd like to work on between now and tomorrow. Or maybe you have a theme for the month or a theme for the week. The theme could be, I'll just keep an eye on my rumination about X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z for the Australians here. And this determination to refrain from harming, to look into our mind, to try and change our habits is what gives us the strength to change. So Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. Okay, so let's do chanting the names of Manjushri for the swift return, or the swift appearance now. Now he's returned, he just needs to appear. Concealed by armor made of loving kindness, well shielded by the shield of empathy, with wisdom sword in hand, with bow and arrow, concluding war with ignorance and kleshas. The Mara's enemy and tamer hero, eliminating threats from all four Maras, defeating all the armies of the Maras, a guide for living beings, the perfect Buddha. Deserving homage, worthy of respect, deserving reverence, always honorable, deserving worship, worthy of regard, the highest guru, ever venerable, ever venerable. Look, everybody, lots of love. Good night. I'll see some of you tomorrow morning, and sleep well. Thank you very much for coming. Always so lovely to see everyone. Okay. Take care between now and tomorrow. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Venerable.